Hey guys, it's Derek from Pacific Coast Auto here in Japan, and we're looking here at a 1971 Mitsubishi Galant GTO MR Edition. Now, this could be one of the most special vehicles that we've ever exported here from Japan. Not only is it really old, but the condition is very good, and this is the sports car version of the car, kind of similar to what a Skyline GTR would be to the regular Skyline versions. And so you get rear-wheel drive, a twin-cam 1600cc engine, and a very 1970s race car style twin cam, as well as a very cool fastback body shape, lovely orange color, and wonderful looks all the way around. The condition of it is quite good, especially considering the age. My first car was a 1972 vehicle that I bought in around 1998, and this is in much better condition than that. And it's a good amount older than my car was when it was my first car. Now, the engine is quite loud. It has aftermarket air filters on there, so it might be a little bit difficult to hear me. So I'll just go over to this side. So this is a 4G32 twin cam engine. The regular version of this car gets a single cam head. This one, as you can see, is very race car like. That's an original exhaust header. Very, very wide engine top. And then dual side draft carbs, one barrel per cylinder, with aftermarket air filters on there. I'm going to give it a little rev. And that might be a little bit too loud to hear. I'm actually going to turn the engine off because it is so loud. And I'll give you a better view of the interior in just a second here. Now, the engine does misfire on one cylinder consistently, and so that wasn't actually a 4-cylinder you were listening to, it was a 3-cylinder. Some people may have been able to hear that. And most likely this is due to an electronic problem, and so I would check your distributor cap down here, check your wires here, and check your spark plugs. There really isn't anything else it could be, because a nice carbureted engine doesn't have any weird electronics. Everything is really easy to understand and really easy to manage. The carburetors look like they are running a little bit richer than usual, and there's a little bit of raw fuel smell coming out of the exhaust. I don't think any of this really is a concern, especially since the vehicle as a whole is quite nice. And coloring on a camera is really hard for orange, and so the orange color is the best color of orange. So just imagine if that color is looking a little bit weird to you through this camera. So coolant looks okay, oil looks okay. This one has been repainted. It was originally a white car, but the engine room has been repainted, and then some paint chips have come. This is the iconic orange color of the car. So some cars are known for their iconic colors. This car, I guess the most common or maybe most famous color was the bright orange with the black stripe and the black hood vents, and all of that is stock. The Watanabes and the lowered suspension there would be not stock, of course. But they are kind of an era wheel, and so possibly people might have driven a car around with wheels like that during the early 70s to late 70s. Wow. I just couldn't stop looking at the auction picture of this one after we bought it. Like, oh man. Oh man. Okay, so let's have a look at the auction sheet, then we'll look at the condition of the car. Okay. So, 1971 Galant GTO MR Edition, auction grade R, interior grade C. It says 51,892 on the odometer, but it's a 5-digit odometer, so mileage is unknown. Still has a plate on it, so it still has current registration. And the registration expires this year in April, so that means the last time it had its safety inspection was 2 years before that date. You can see it has the plate on there. Okay, so seller's points. It says Solex twin carbs, 4G32 1600cc engine, and this engine puts out 125 horsepower, or did when it was stock. If it's running aftermarket carburetors, it might be a little bit up from there depending on how they decided to tune those carbs. 5-digit odometer, so they're selling this as a mileage unknown car, and the vehicle's been in an accident on the front and the rear. Now this vehicle's such a rare vehicle that if you wanted to buy one that hadn't been in an accident, you might have to wait several years in order to find one. Once a car becomes, well, let's see, if it's a 1971, then we're coming in on 50 years old pretty soon. And Hakosukas or any other popular car from this era is very, very difficult to find, having not been in an accident. I think everything looks reasonable. If there's anything that you wanted to tighten up, you could. The chassis of a car this old is naturally over time going to have some stress on it. And so to me, I wouldn't worry about it so much, especially with, just can't get enough. Such good looks. Stubby front end, fast back. I love the first generation Celica and Levin, and this car gives me the same kind of thumbs up feeling of those cars, but in a way it's a little bit cooler because it's rarer than those cars. Okay, so interior, this is the report from the auction. Interior is dirty, seat ripped. It's a color changed car with paint wave and uneven paint in places. Aftermarket wheels have scrapes on them, and aftermarket steering wheel. Console and dashboard cracked, and actually the dashboard crack is not very big, so I'm happy to see that. The suspension is aftermarket with a question mark on there. Left baffle and front inner panel have accident damage that has been repaired. Rear panel and rear floor, same thing. Left rear fender has been replaced, and the vehicle has had several areas that corrosion has been repaired. And so there's barely any corrosion on this car, which for something this old is very strange. Here's one of them, right there. The sill in here, if you look closely, it has been rebuilt. And there are going to be several areas that are like that, like right here. But you can't really notice it that much until you get up close and personal. Here's another spot of rust, just that tiny little bit there. And then a couple of areas like here has body filler that has cracked. And so this is an area that has been repaired, most likely repaired from rust, and then has cracked. Body filler will typically do that after a while. And then a couple more paint cracks like this, and this. And here. And there's a patch like right here and right here where the paint is a little bit bad. But then that's it. No heavy rust anywhere. Really good to see that. Okay, let's go over what else is in here. This fender has been replaced. Front bumper has paint that comes up, and the lens surround piece here lens has a Y1, which is a crack. Back section there, U2, which is a medium-sized dent. Sorry, Hayes. So the front section here, paint comes up here. Lens crack. And then the headlight surround pieces kind of don't fit exactly how they're supposed to fit. It's not really that bad. It's a little bit noticeable, but it's fine. Really cool looking fender mirrors on it. There's that weird color thing. I'm looking right now at the car and the screen. So bullet style fender mirrors. These hood vents are stock, even those dual stripes on them, on the MR edition. And I'm not sure how much this weighs, but if I were to guess, I'd say somewhere around 890 kilograms or so. Which makes it probably a little bit lighter than the Celica, the longer of the wheelbase of the first generation. And then heavier than the Levin and Trudeau. And being a 1600cc engine, probably when it was racing would be together with the Levin Trudeau with the 2T engines. So I guess this would be considered a Japanese muscle car, even though 1600cc, 125 horsepower isn't that muscular, but still the sound, the rear wheel drive, the way it feels is going to be quite unique to most people who are not used to this kind of car. So here's the paint wave. And then I didn't mention earlier, this one was bought from auction for export to USA. The fitment to the tires is basically perfect here. I love the size of the tires, size of the wheels, the offset that they picked. It's low, much lower than stock, a lot more aggressive than stock, but really good looking in my mind. All the lenses, this one here is a little bit corroded, but they have all of the things that you need. It's stuff like this on a classic car that you won't be able to get a new one of. There are some dents in the top of the windshield here. And so, really good on that. I think also a pretty good deal on this one. I can't really talk about prices that much, but I think that this one is everything that you want in a car that is this old, especially this rare. Love it. Man. Whew. Like, this is a, to be honest for a sec, this is a pretty sweet job because I get to see a lot of cars that I really like. But it's really days like this that make me happy to have this job. And I've been waiting all week for this. And a bit of a weird situation happened. On the way that this one was shipping to us, they were like, oh no, there's an engine sound, and so we're not going to drive the car. But there actually isn't an engine sound. And so that kind of sucks, but at the same time, it really is nice not having any issues with it. That's a sound that both doors make. And this door sags down a little bit, so when you open it, it falls down a bit. Door cards are good here, made out of vinyl, typical of Japanese cars. This section here has a bit of rust, but not very much. Like a typical 8.6, which came out 15 years after this, will usually have some corrosion, if not a lot of corrosion in this area. And it's good to see that they took the fenders off when they repainted it and really got in there. And weird thing, it's a Colt, Galant, GTO, right? And MR. So the Colt, they make a car called the Colt, they make a car called the Galant, and a car called the GTO, all three separate cars at one point or another. And then the MR they use for the Lancer Evolutions. Okay, so first off, seat. So auction sheet, as it says, there are receipt rips. Right here, right here. It's very nice that these are the original seats, and there would be absolutely some value in having original seats. You can see a repair has been done here and here and here already. Now you could swap to aftermarket seats in this one, but I would definitely hold on to these seats because there aren't going to be too many MR edition seats. I don't even know if these are exclusive to the MR, probably not, but there's probably not very many Galant seats from this generation either. Very cool gauges, very 70s. Engine's not too hard to start, even when it's misfiring, and so when it's running properly. In fact, it was running better right when I shut it off. When you heard me rev it there, it was running better. It may be that it's just weak spark, but when it's cold, it was a little bit worse. But it doesn't seem to be fuel related. Let me show you these again. Man, I'm excited. Oil pressure is good when it's running. Oil temperature and water temperature. That's how you know it's a race car. And then the dashboard crack right over here. And the rest of the dash is all in proper condition. This opens properly. And usually closes properly. That's a little weird. Little tray here. And then the carpet here is okay. It looks like this carpet has been replaced at one time or another. And it's supposed to stick up there, but it flops down. So you just need to put some Velcro in or some double-sided tape. Brakes and clutch seem to be okay. Comes with 2 cigarette lighters. One here and one down there. And I actually had it running with the choke out because it doesn't like to run so much at lower RPM. So put the choke in. And see, it's like, no, 3 cylinders is not enough to keep us running unless you choke us. I'm choked. The reason why it's called a choke is actually kind of the same as choking humans, because, oh, some bubbles here. What a choke does is it removes the amount of air, but keeps fuel at the same rate, and so it allows the engine to run richer. So seats in the back are good. These back cards are good, and look, we got windows that go down there, and windows that go down there, and B-pillarless. So with all the windows down, it's going to look really cool. Aftermarket stereo up there, and recarpeted up there. And this is in good shape. These are a little bit corroded, but look at that. Oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to undo the windows. Roll down the windows. I don't know why I said undo. I like the fibrous material that's in here. That's cool. Now imagine how cool you're going to be sitting in there with no B-pillar. Very cool. Now no rust inside the trunk. It has been repaired and repainted inside there. You actually need the key to get at it. It came with a few extra parts, an air filter, and I don't know, something else. Old engine parts look different from new ones in many cases, and so I don't know what that is. There's your trunk. A little bit of like a paint crusties. Doesn't look like any rust. No problem. And take this out before I close so we don't have any scratches. Okay, keys down. And that's going to be the end of the review here. Mitsubishi Galant GTO MR twin cam rear wheel drive, cool orange color. I love it. Okay, so that's going to be the end of the review. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.